Miss Church says her wife needs to take down her wall and communicate. Miss Walker says her wife is communicating with the wrong person. Today on Divorce Court.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding.
You may be seated.
Your Honor, this is the case of Church v. Walker.
Thank you very much, Ms. Church. Ms. Walker, glad to have you here in Divorce Court today. I'm glad to have you all join me. Again, we are now looking at another case, this time with two women who say they love each other, but we want to make sure that this relationship has the strength to stand the test of time. I'm glad that you all are trusting us with your relationship today. You've been together for 7 years, married for 1.5 years, and although you have no children together, the plaintiff does not have any children. The defendant does have one son. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yes, Your Honor.
And I see, Ms. Church, you have brought a witness today. We will get to you a little later on, Mrs. Church, so that we can get your perspective on what's been going on here. But first, Ms. Church.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are we in divorce court?
Well, Your Honor, my relationship has been on a roller coaster, and lately we've been having more downs than up.
Yes.
And I'm really just fed up with it. And if it doesn't go the way I want it to go, then I'll have to get a divorce.
So you all took the step of not just dating, but to marry and to start planning a life. Ms. Walker, Ms. Church says that she's questioning that decision. What do you say, ma'am?
Well, Your Honor, I'm here today because I do love my wife and I want the marriage to work, but I just need her to prioritize me as her wife and not her mother as her wife. Like, you're married to me, not your mother.
Well,
and better communication skills between me and Alexis.
Well, the Bible says they who find a wife findeth a good thing. So let's see if you've been a good thing in this relationship. Okay. Why don't you take me back a little bit, Ms. Church? How'd you all meet? And then what has led us to be in divorce court today?
Well, we met in 2016, and she was still with the father of her son. So we started out as friends, and about 6 months after that, we began dating. I'm gay, and she's bisexual. I treat her son, she has a son, and I treat him as my own. And one thing, we got married in 2022 of August.
And you all made a family together, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Miss Walker, as you all were making a family, what were you looking for in this relationship that you didn't get in other relationships?
Alexis, she has a big heart and she's very caring and loving, especially to my child. So I was just looking for that family dynamic to have because I didn't have it in my previous relationship.
You all decide you're going to form a family. That's a big decision. Ms. Church, when did you stop trusting your wife?
Well, it was like 2 months before we got married. She went to her hometown, which is about 40 minutes away. And she was going to a party her aunt had. And I was calling her. And the last time I heard from her that day, she stated that she was going to sleep. So I was calling and calling, didn't get any answer from her.
I never said I was going to sleep.
She told me she was going to sleep,
No,
so I called and called throughout the night, and she wasn't answering.
Well, if she was asleep, why would she be answering?
Any other time I call her, she answers.
Okay.
No, I don't.
And, you know, you have that gut feeling that something might be going on, so we also share location. And her location stated that she was at her aunt's house. So I got up, and I went, took that little trip. And
you drove 40 minutes away?
I drove
but when
40
I
minutes
asked her
away.
to go any other time, she don't want to go.
Well, she was coming to see if you were sneaking around. I can tell you exactly where she was coming.
So I knocked on the door, her aunt greeted me, and I was like, hey, is Kiaya here? I said, yeah, her location says she here. So she walks to the back, and she come back, she said, well, her phone is right here. And I said, so she left her phone at the house to make me think she's here, but she's out. So to me, why do you have to leave your phone?
Because you're going to keep calling, blowing me up and blowing me up.
So with you leaving your phone behind, I felt like you were out doing something you had no business doing.
So let's move over here to Miss Walker.
So that particular day, I asked, what she failed to mention is that I asked her to come down there with me. She didn't want to come. I asked her for 2 days straight to come because we was having an event down there. So she never did want to come. So we had the party. So I decided I did want to leave my phone at home because, like I said, she's going to keep calling and calling. What you doing? Who you with? Why you ain't answer the phone? Calling me and calling me.
So, Miss Walker, why didn't you make a phone call or send a text that simply says, I'm about to go out, don't blow my phone up because I'm not going to answer it anymore. Why not just be honest and say those
Because she
words?
was still gonna blow it up, and I didn't have time to deal with it.
Then you would have had every right to leave the phone wherever the heck you wanted to leave it, but you would have informed your partner what your intent was. Then if she wanted to think something of that, then that would have been on her. Right. But then that would have been indicative of your character that you were trying to be honest. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's called communication, mature communication, because this sounds like y'all have a communication problem, Ms. Church.
We do have a communication problem. With Kia's like a firecracker. So she gets heated instantly over the small things. Like when we was in her hometown, before we go there, we already make up our mind who's gonna drive there, who's gonna drive back from there. So she's most likely to drive there, and I'm the one to drive back. But I always tell her I do not want to drive back at night. And we sat down there that whole day, and I said, well, I'm not driving. So we get in the car, and we proceed down the highway. Now she's upset because she has to drive. So we had words going back and forth. And she said, well, you can get out of my car on the side of the highway. So I said, well, I'll get out your car. And when I got out of the car, I proceeded to call a friend of mine who I knew had no problem with picking me up.
Why is this sounding petty for married people, y'all? You knew that she didn't want to drive in the dark. If you know she doesn't want to drive in the dark, why didn't you all decide that she'd be the one to drive there?
Because she didn't want to drive there.
It's not that I don't like driving. Everywhere we go.
I'm not a driver.
I'm the driver.
So it sounds again like this is a failure to communicate.
Because sometimes I just want reassurance on, how do you feel about me? Well, she goes, well, you already know how I feel. I don't have to show it to you. But I felt like, is it that hard for you to tell me how you feel?
I'm not emotional. not mushy. I have a hard time expressing my feelings.
You all speak different love languages. I can tell it right now.
Yeah, we do. And she know that.
What happened on Valentine's Day?
Well, on Valentine's Day, we don't go out because, reservations be long. So she decides to cook, and I planned the event that we would do. So I brought canvases for us to paint, listen to music, and tell each other about our feelings.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Right.
Still that's a good idea.
So, that was the cheap route to go, but we would paint.
But that's a nice cheap route to go.
Nice cheap route.
So, Corey, take a note. Come on now.
So we were currently painting and listening to music. And I looked at Kiaya and I said, well, tell me how I feel. Because sometimes I just want reassurance on, how do you feel about me, being that we're in the spot that we're in. Well, she goes, well, you already know how I feel. I don't have to show it to you. But she proceeded to stop painting and got up and got on the couch and started on her phone. So, I felt like what I did was just a waste of time. Like, is it that hard for you to tell me how you feel?
I'm not emotional. Not mushy. I have a hard time expressing my feelings.
You all speak different love languages. I can tell it right now.
Yeah, we do, and she know that.
But guess what? You married her.
That's true.
So these are the things she needs. Mm-hmm. There's some things that you need. What does Miss Walker need? Miss Church, what do you do for her to make her happy?
It don't take much to make her happy. She wants to feel love. I give her that. When I give it too much, it's like...
You're smothering her.
Right, back up, son, back up. But then when I back up, it's like, I need that love, I need that love.
What does Miss Church need?
She want me to write her a 60-page love letter on how I feel about her. And I'm like, I show you.
Your wife is very easy to please. It sounds like all she want to do is hear that you love her. But you say that she chooses her mother over you. And before I ask her mother to testify, I would like you to tell me what you mean by that, Miss Walker.
When her mama called, it dropped everything. And then a situation where Alexis, she had to have surgery. And I was gonna take her to the hospital, but I had to put my son on the bus. So her mother took her, and I put my son on the bus, and I was like, I'll just meet you there. I get to the hospital, and I'm calling.
This is upsetting to you.
And
what
I'm
happened?
calling, and she not answering.
Were you worried?
I was, but I wanted to see her. before she went on the surgery. And I kept calling her, and she wouldn't answer the phone. And then when I finally answered the phone, she was like, what? And I'm like, I'm calling to get the number. I mean, what room number? But by that time, she was already gone to surgery.
Do you think it was an intentional act?
I really do feel like it was, because she knew I was on the way up there. I wouldn't have did that to her.
It seems like you hold up this strong front. I'm every woman. I got this. Mm-hmm. But you just as mushy as the next person.
Right. Big
Quit acting like you not mushy. You just as mushy. And you still are looking at me when in reality, you should be looking at her. Remember the painting on Valentine's Day? That's what she wanted to hear. Right there.
And it just upset me so bad, because you know the type of person that I am in our marriage, and you sit here and let your mama say that I'm all mean and hateful, and you know that I'm not, and you sit there and allow her to think that.
We're not gonna talk about Mrs. Church like she not here. Ms. Church, will you please?
If it was me, they should have never got married.
Those tears, that's what she wanted to see.
And it just upsets me so bad, because you know the type of person that I am in our marriage, and you sit here and let your mama say that I'm all the type of, like, mean, like I'm just so mean and hateful, and you know that I'm not, and you sit there and allow her to think that.
I don't allow her to think it. That's her perspective of how she sees it.
But you don't correct it.
You don't see it. You're looking at the outside. Behind doors,
okay,
I do
well,
correct
do it.
my mother.
Why you gotta do it behind my back? Do it when it's happening.
Well, you know what? We're not gonna talk about Mrs. Church like she not here. Ms. Church, will you please come and stand next to your daughter? I bless your heart.
How are you?
I'm very well. Will you introduce yourself to the court?
My name is Fonda Church, and I'm Alexis's mother.
Yes, indeed. Ms. Church, I'm glad that you're here. You have been around these two ladies since...
I have.
Since they started this relationship.
I have.
And I'm curious. Miss Walker thinks that your daughter chooses you over her all the time.
I mean, she might think that, but this is my baby. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure she's happy.
I agree with you.
And so, now, like, Kiaya and I, in the earlier part, you flip-flop between a man and a woman. And then as you do all this kind of stuff to my baby, I'm gonna like you a little less each time.
You don't see what she do to me, though.
I see what you all do to each other.
You don't.
And if it was me, they should have never got married.
But see, Mrs. Church, I'm gonna say this to you with every ounce of respect. It wasn't you. So she had to make the decision on the woman that she wanted to marry. At some point, Miss Church, you're going to have to say, Mama, this is my wife, and we're going to work this out together. Are you at that stage
Yeah,
yet?
I do. There are plenty of times. There's plenty of times where when I see what she's doing to Kiaya, I say, Mama, at the end of the day, this is my wife. You have to stop doing this, stop saying this. Like, she constantly say, oh, she's ghetto and she's ratchet. I'm like, well, if she's ghetto and she's ratchet, that's what if that's a part of her that I love. But
Kiaya is sitting up there with the tears and everything. Kiaya is a firecracker, too.
We said that.
She's
we all know
ghetto,
that.
she's callous, and she's superficial. Now, that's my opinion of her.
And guess what? Your daughter loves her dirty draws, okay? And it might tick you off, but she loves that sophisticated, ghetto, ratchet, superficial chick that's standing there because she floats her boat. This is a marriage or it is not.
Right.
Okay? The two of you have to learn to come together, and it does not need to include anybody else. I don't know if you have a good relationship with your mother, but Miss Church has a wonderful relationship with her mother. She loves her mother. Her mother's going to be there. So you're going to have to deal with your mother-in-law. You don't have to like each other, but you have to get along because you love her.
And it hurts me
The two
when
of
they
you
do
love
that.
her.
And it hurts me.
She shouldn't have to pick because her mama's going to be her mother, but she's got to be able to have a relationship with her wife outside of her mother. Okay? Miss Church, you can take your seat because I need the two of them to understand that this is about the two of you. Do you want this relationship, Miss Church?
I do.
You brought divorce papers to court?
Nigga, I wanted to change because I'm tired of feeling like I gotta choose somebody over the next when it's not like that.
I think everybody needs to be a little nicer to each other, and you all might benefit from family therapy, real family therapy, because there needs to be a dynamic of how you're going to communicate with each other. And again, Miss Walker, Mrs. Church is going to be in your life. We want her to be here as long as possible. We don't want anything to happen. Because I'm going to tell you something, Miss Church will resent the fact that you stepped in and prevented her from spending quality time with her mother. But by the same token, Miss Church, you have to tell your mother that my wife has to take priority sometime. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Church, you wanted to make a comment.
If Alexis is out together and she calls Alexis, I'm in the car with her, boom, she's gonna hang up the phone.
Because you don't know how to talk to folks, and I
You
don't
don't know
have
how to
time
talk
to
to
hear
people.
your mouth.
Very clearly, you all don't like each other, and you don't have to.
And I'm in the middle of it every time. and
But
it's
you don't
so
have to be in the
frustrating.
middle. You hear what I just said to your mother? You have to say that to your mother.
I
You
do.
hear what I just said to your wife? You have to say that to your wife. Do you want to choose between the two of them?
No, Your Honor.
Then, Miss Church, tell your mother and your wife what you are going to do and what you're not going to do. You're a grown woman. I'm not dealing with a 19-year-old. Tell your wife what you need from her right now. What do you need?
Right now, I just need you to love me and just tell me you love me. I need that reassurance. And as far as my mother, whatever she does, I will handle it. I will put her in her place and I will handle it. And as far as you, I love you with everything. But I need you to let me handle my wife. I'm sick of it.
I'm gonna mind the business that pays me.
There you go. There you go. What do you need from your wife, Miss Walker?
I just need you to trust me, and because you know that I'm not cheating on you. And I need you to prioritize me more.
And I need the two of you to sit with a family therapist so you can learn to communicate. That's what a marriage is. That's what relationship is. I am joyous to be married to the man that I love. No matter if he irritates me or I irritate him. When we walk into a room together, we are a united front. Nobody can come in between the two of us. That should always be the same thing for the two of you. And you have to make that commitment if you're going to be married to each other. Are you able to make that commitment, Miss Walker?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to make that commitment, Miss Church?
Yes, ma'am. So I can tear these divorce papers up.
Yep.
There you go.
Take the divorce papers to your wife and you both tear them up. I'm ready. You stand right there. You don't need to walk back over there. I would like the two of you to really work on what it is to be in love. Learn to speak each other's love language. And let's give each other some grace.
Right.
Let's trust a little bit more, fight a little bit less, and put your arms around each other. And you, Missy, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I want to see a text. That's my verdict.
See that it ain't just me. You think I'm just being crazy.
Well, no, you had to see both sides, though. Hopefully we can get a better understanding and just...
I hope we do too.
So I know we can make it. I don't want a divorce, but if it came down to it now.
You ain't gonna divorce me.
I do need y'all to get better, though. I'm tired of it. And y'all can't keep putting me in that
I'm trying
predicament.
as long as you trying.
Made